In the height of the Cold War, while the world watched parades, a machine capable of starting a nuclear war in minutes was hidden in secret garrisons. This is not just a truck. This is the 9K714 Oka. It presents as a colossal truck, but its true identity is a mobile launch system designed for one purpose: strategic obliteration. Its mass exceeds 30 tons, the weight of 6 adult elephants, moving with surgical precision across raw earth. Powering this beast is a 38.8-liter V12 diesel, a low, visceral rumble that you feel in your bones even when it stands still. This wasn't about speed, it was about delivering a nuclear payload to any point from any terrain. No road required. The launch sequence is a cold, calculated process. Inside a hermetically sealed cabin, the crew works in total isolation. Massive hydraulic arms engage, lifting the missile container skyward. The missile is aimed. The world holds its breath. Officially, its missile had a range under 500 kilometers, complying with international agreements. The reality was different. Its true range was far greater. It was this single, undeclared capability that led to the collapse of one of the most significant disarmament treaties in history. A machine capable of single-handedly collapsing an international nuclear treaty was just the tip of the iceberg. Behind it stood a hidden world of colossal military trucks, a secret cast of giants engineered for absolute dominance. Their tasks were brutal and direct, hauling main battle tanks, launching strategic missiles, operating in the frozen emptiness of the Arctic and on the front lines of active wars. For decades, most of these machines remained classified, a parallel reality of engineering hidden from public view. They were not ordinary trucks. These were monsters built to serve forever, some so vast they require an entire road lane just to execute a turn, a maneuver equivalent to a passenger car needing a stadium to reverse. They represent a forgotten era of over-engineering, a design philosophy so extreme it will leave you wondering, how was this even built? Buckle up! But this brutal philosophy of mobile power was not exclusive to the Soviet Union. To build an army of such giants, one country was not enough. In the heart of Europe, in Czechoslovakia, engineers from Tatra answered the challenge, creating a machine with a different kind of DNA, the T813 Colossal. Where Soviet designs used brute force, Tatra pursued a more surgical, almost biological approach. The core of their design was the revolutionary central backbone tube frame. Instead of a flat, rigid ladder that every other truck uses, a single massive tube runs the length of the vehicle, housing and protecting the entire drivetrain inside. Total protection, absolute rigidity. Attached to this spine are independently swinging half-axles for all 8 wheels. This isn't just suspension, it's mechanical articulation. A front wheel hits a meter-high obstacle and rises vertically, but the central backbone remains almost perfectly horizontal. The truck doesn't fight the terrain, it flows over it. The sound is not the scream of stressed metal, but a series of deep, muffled thuds, like a colossal animal carefully placing its feet. This system gives the Tatra a level of continuous traction comparable to a gecko clinging to a vertical wall. For a machine carrying a pontoon bridge or a multiple rocket launcher, this stability is not a luxury, it is a tactical necessity. And this revolutionary technology was not born in a massive Soviet design bureau, it was perfected in a small nation in Eastern Europe, proving the doctrine of unstoppable force was an obsession shared across the entire Warsaw Pact. Both the Oka and the Tatra were deadly instruments. But for this entire system to work as a single organism, a titan was needed, capable of carrying the full weight of war on its back. That titan was the Soviet MAN HX77. This was not merely a truck, it was the logistical spine of the Soviet war machine, the workhorse of the apocalypse, nicknamed Uragan, the Hurricane. Its purpose was simple: to move immense loads where nothing else could. Inside its chassis beat the heart of a beast, a D12A tank engine, roaring with the promise of raw power. The air around it hangs heavy with the smell of hot metal and unburnt diesel fuel. Picture a 40-ton tank, its tracks spinning uselessly in deep, viscous mud. Then, the MAN HX77 arrives. Slow, unstoppable. With a guttural roar from its V12 engine, it bites into the earth and pulls, dragging the armored vehicle from the mire as if it were a toy. This machine was built for planetary-scale haulage. On a semi-trailer, it could tow a payload of up to 90 tons, the equivalent weight of a fully grown blue whale. The total gross combination weight of this road train could reach 115 tons, a moving fortress. The MAN HX77 wasn't a standalone unit, it was the element that defined the sheer scale of the entire Soviet military doctrine. The missile launchers and mobile command posts were the organs, but this was the muscle that moved them all, a system designed for one purpose: absolute battlefield dominance. But how did the West answer this challenge. How do you move an armored division across a continent? You don't need a sprinter, you need a marathon runner. In the 1980s, the United States gave its answer. A machine where reliability over thousands of sun-scorched kilometers mattered more than record-breaking off-road performance. This was the M911 Oshkosh. Its mission was not to conquer the wilderness, it was to dominate the supply line. The engineering reflects this brutal focus. The truck rolls on 6 wheels, but the engine's power is channeled only to the 4 at the rear. This 6x4 configuration was a deliberate choice, sacrificing maximum all-terrain grip for mechanical simplicity and endurance on paved surfaces. This machine was not for swamps, it was for highways. At its heart, the Detroit Diesel V8. Its deep, guttural rumble became the soundtrack of American logistics during the Persian Gulf era. A low-frequency hum that vibrated through the ground, a constant reminder of power in motion. The M911 was a long-distance athlete, designed to haul a gross combination weight of over 100 tons. 100 tons! Mile after sun-scorched mile. The American philosophy was clear: build the road, then own the war. But while America was building the perfect highway truck, on the other side of the Iron Curtain, engineers were solving the opposite problem. What if there are no roads at all? In 1967, the Czechoslovakian Tatra gave an answer that changed the rules of the game: the T813. This was not just another truck, it was a radical rethinking of mobility, built around a central backbone tube chassis, a steel spine. The system functions like the flexible spine of a beast. One wheel climbs a high obstacle, the second wheel on the same axle remains firmly on the ground. The central tube twists, but the cargo bed and cabin stay almost perfectly level. A vehicle in constant motion, a machine that flows over terrain. At its heart was a massive 17.6-liter V12 diesel engine, but this was no ordinary power plant. It was air-cooled. This wasn't a compromise, it was a strategic choice for survival. No radiator meant no punctures from shrapnel. No coolant meant no risk of freezing solid in a Siberian winter. The only sound was the deep, mechanical roar of 12 cylinders, a raw power untethered from fragile water lines. This radical design created a stark contrast in philosophies. Where American logistics relied on paved surfaces, the Tatra was engineered for a world without them. Its off-road capability was so extreme, it didn't compete with other trucks. It competed with tracked vehicles. This was a machine that could carry artillery systems and supplies directly across brutal landscapes. The central load-bearing tube and swinging half-axles became Tatra's unbreakable engineering signature. But the unique backbone frame was only a skeleton. To become a legend, this skeleton needed muscle and soul, and the Tatra T813 got both, earning the formidable name Colossal. It began with the sound, a deep metallic rumble from its V12 engine, a constant presence that promised unstoppable power. This was the truck's signature. Its form was pure function, a tall, square-cut cabin and a profile that radiated brutalist strength, a hallmark of Eastern Bloc Soviet-style design. This wasn't aesthetics. It was a statement. For crews in the field, that sound and shape meant survival. In the deep mud of a thawing forest or on treacherous icy mountain passes, the machine was an anchor of reliability. A reputation for invincibility grew, born from the trust of soldiers who knew the Coloss would not fail them. Total trust. That engineering myth wasn't an exaggeration. The durability was real. So real that today, in the mountainous regions of Slovakia and across Ukraine, the T813 is still at work. It is more than a machine. It is a cultural icon, a symbol of engineering that refused to break, a design now proven for over 50 years. The battle of engineering philosophies produced legends. But what replaced them in the 21st century? NATO's answer, presented in 2005, was not about raw power, but about networked efficiency. A new era had begun, and its name was MAN HX77. This was not another national champion built to break records. It was a standardized tool for a unified force, built on one core principle: modularity. The design allows it to transform its role with battlefield speed. One moment, the HX77 is hauling a standard cargo container across a desert. The next, its frame is fitted with a module for transporting troops. Then, the same chassis becomes the base for a complex artillery system. It is a single platform that adapts to the mission. The payload capacity is 15 tons, the weight of 3 adult elephants, or a full platoon of soldiers and their gear, or 2 entire armored patrol vehicles. The contrast with its predecessors is most stark inside the cab. Where Soviet and early Western designs prioritized brutal simplicity, the HX HX77 shifts the focus from the machine to the human. This is a paradigm shift. Ergonomic seats and climate control replace hard benches and raw steel. The armored cabin is not an add-on. It is an integrated capsule, engineered from the ground up for mine protection. The highest priority is no longer just moving the cargo, it is ensuring the crew survives to do it again. This is the new logic of military logistics, built for joint operations where every part must fit a greater whole. Efficiency over ego. The HX77 is the result. A fleet of identical workhorses rolling across Allied territory, connecting the entire war machine. While the West was building unified, efficient platforms, a final titan of the old school was born on the ruins of the Soviet Empire, a machine that was both the apex of raw power and the harbinger of an entire engineering epic's end, the KZKT7428 Rusich. This was the swan song of the Kurgan wheel tractor plant. Unlike its classic Soviet predecessors with their flat-fronted cabins, the Rusich featured a semi-forward control layout. The massive engine was pushed forward, out from under the crew. This wasn't an aesthetic choice. It was a brutal, practical solution for better cooling and easier access to the motor in the extreme temperatures of a Siberian winter or a Central Asian desert. It was a design dictated by geography. Under that long hood sat a YAMZ V8 engine, generating 650 horsepower. It didn't just run, it produced a low-frequency, visceral roar that seemed to shake the very ground, a sound of pure, uncompromising force. Power for a purpose. Its 8x8 all-wheel drive could pull a semi-trailer weighing up to 75 tons. The total mass of the tractor, trailer, and its armored cargo could reach 120 tons, the weight of a blue whale. Moving across frozen tundra, this was the peak. The most powerful machine the Kurgan factory ever created, and it was an engineering dead end. In 2011, the factory that built this titan ceased to exist. The giant was slain. The titan fell. But its engineering DNA did not die with the factory. But while the Kurgan plant was dying, its engineering DNA survived and mutated. In neighboring Belarus, at the Minsk wheel tractor plant, this idea was not just preserved, it was taken to a new, terrifying level. This is how the MZKT74135 was born. Outwardly, it is a continuation of the same brutalist Soviet design philosophy. A massive angular cab, 8 enormous wheels, a frame built for impossible loads. But turn the key and the expected earth-shaking roar of a Russian diesel is absent. Instead, there is the deep, surprisingly smooth hum of a German V8 engine, a Deutz BF8 M1015C, Soviet skin, German heart. This machine was engineered not just to pull, but to assemble a convoy into a single entity. The process is a demonstration of pure efficiency. The prime mover backs up to a massive semi-trailer, locking it into place to carry a main battle tank. The connection is made, but the operation is not over. The semi-trailer has its own hitch, ready to accept a second full trailer carrying an infantry fighting vehicle. One machine, an entire armored column. The full road train, designated the MZKT-74135 plus 99942 plus 83721, stretches for nearly 42 meters, the length of 9 passenger cars lined up bumper to bumper. This single vehicle, powered by over 544 horsepower, is designed to move an entire mechanized unit across continents. Its mission is to haul a total mass of up to 130 tons. But what if the task is not just to haul 130 tons on a highway, but to covertly move a doomsday weapon through forests and swamps? Here, brute force gives way to engineering magic, and this magic is a direct response to the humiliation of the 1980s. It's a technological answer to a political defeat, born from the ashes of the Oka missile system destroyed by international treaty. The mission was clear: create a new carrier independent of the Minsk wheel tractor plant. The result was Project Platforma-O, a machine that redefines the very concept of a truck. This is the KAMAZ 7850. It has no traditional transmission, no drive shafts connecting the engine to the wheels. Instead, the diesel engine acts as a mobile power station, spinning a massive generator. That current then flows to 16 individual motor wheels, a power plant for every tire. The effect is revolutionary. 16 powered wheels. The machine can move sideways, it can turn in place, it can crawl through impossible terrain with the eerie, almost silent hum of an electric trolley bus. A low, unnatural whine for a monster built to carry the apocalypse. apocalypse. So what does this absolute freedom from mechanical linkages truly mean for a weapon that must never be found? It means that this mobile fortress can hide anywhere. It carries the RS-28 Sarmat intercontinental ballistic missile, a single payload weighing over 200 tons. The truck itself is merely the final crucial link in a chain of deterrence. This is not evolution, it's a rebirth. The entire system is designed for one purpose: to guarantee a retaliatory strike from the most remote, impassable corners of a continent. And so, the circle is closed. The idea once banned by an international treaty didn't just return, it was reborn into something far more advanced and formidable. This is a story of evolution told in steel. It began with the KZKT Rusich, the faithful, final soldier of the old guard, a titan of brute force, forged for a world that was about to disappear. Then came the pragmatist, the MZKT74135, an engineering mercenary that absorbed the best from every school of design to survive in a new era. It was adaptation, it was evolution, but the ComAz Platforma-O is the technological revenge, the direct heir, designed to reclaim a lost capability. It is the fusion of every past lesson, every defeat, and every triumph. 3 generations, one unbroken line of strategic thought. The engineering race born in the Cold War never truly stopped, it just went silent.